Untouchables of the Children of India's Ghetto by Babasaheb Ambedkar. Part 1, Chapter 3, 2. Let us now turn to the de facto position of the black in the United States during the period in which he was a slave in the eye of the law. Here are some facts which shed a good deal of light on his position. Lafayette himself had observed that white and black seamen and soldiers had fought and messed together in the Revolution without bitter difference. Down in Granville County, North Carolina, a full-blooded black person, Jean Chavez, educated in Princeton University, was conducting a private school for white students and was a licentiate under the local presbytery, preaching to white congregations in the state. One of his pupils became governor of North Carolina, another the state's most prominent Whig senator. Two of his pupils were sons of the Chief Justice of North Carolina. The father of the founder of the greatest military academy of the state attended his school and boarded in his home. Slave labor was used for all kinds of work, and the more intelligent of the black slaves were trained as artisans to be used and leased. Slave artisans would bring twice as much as an ordinary field hand in the market. Master craftsmen owned their staff. Some masters, as the system became more involved, hired slaves to their slave artisans. Many slave artisans purchased their freedom by the savings allowed them above the normal labor expected. The advertisements for runways and sales are an index to this skill. They received the same or better wages than the poor white laborer, and with the influence of the master, got the best jobs. The contractors for masons and carpenters' work in Athens, Georgia, in 1838 were petitions to stop showing preference to black laborers. The white man is the only real, legal, moral, and civil proprietor of this country and state. The right of his proprietorship reached from the date of the studies of those white men, Copernicus and Galileo, who indicated the sphericity of the earth, which sphericity hinted to another white man, Columbus, the possibility by a westerly course of sailing of finding land. Hence, by white men alone was this continent discovered. The white men alone, those to whom you decline to give money, bread, or clothes for their famishing families, in the logical manner of withholding both from them, defending blacks too in the bargain. In Atlanta in 1858, a petition signed by two white mechanics and laborers sought protection against the black slave artisans of masters who resided in other sections. The very next year, sundry white citizens were aggrieved that the city council tolerated a black dentist to remain and operate in their midst. In justice to ourselves and the community, it ought to be abated. We, the residents of Atlanta, appeal to you for justice. A census of free blacks in Richmond County, Georgia in 1819 showed carpenters, barbers, boat caulkers, saddlers, spinners, millwrights, holsters, weavers, harness makers, sawmill attendants, and steamboat pilots. A black shoemaker made by hand the boots in which President Monroe was inaugurated. Harriet Martineau marveled at the slave workmanship in the delicately tiled floors of Thomas Jefferson's home at Monticello. There still stands in the big house of the old plantation heavy marks of the hands of these black craftsmen, strong mansions built of timber hewn from the original oak and pinned together by wooden pins. Black women skilled in spinning and weaving worked in the mills. Buckingham in 1839 found them in Athens, Georgia, working alongside with white girls without apparent repugnance or objection. Black craftsmen in the South, slave and free, fared better than their brothers in the North. In 1856 in Philadelphia, of 1,637 black craftsmen recorded, less than two-thirds could use their trades because of hostile prejudice. The Irish, who were pouring into America from the very beginning of the 19th century, were being used in the North on approximately the same motives of preference which governed black slavery. An Irish Catholic, it was argued in their favor, seldom attempts to rise to a higher condition than that in which he is placed, while the black often makes the attempt with success. Had not the old Puritan Oliver Cromwell, while the traffic in black slaves was on, sold all the Irish not killed in the Drogheda massacre into Barbados? Free and fugitive blacks in New York and Pennsylvania were in constant conflict with this group, and the bitter hostility showed itself most violently in the draft riots of the New York. These Hibernians controlled the horde carrying and the common labor jobs, opposing every approach of the black as a menace to their slight, a hold upon America and upon a means of livelihood. The end.